What's up everyone, welcome to my channel, the #1 place to start your PTE preparation. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how to use a template to describe a process or a life cycle in PTE Describe Image. Now, just to give you a preview, this is a template that we will be using, and these are the 3 images that I will be walking you through. Make sure you watch this video until the end, because by the end of it, you will find process or life cycle graph is actually the easiest graph type in PTE Describe Image. Now, I cannot dive into the deep end without firstly giving you some tips on the scoring criteria and the 25 seconds of preparation time. For PTE Describe Image, you get a maximum of 5 points for content, a maximum of 5 points for oral fluency, and a maximum of 5 points for pronunciation. I have said this repeatedly in other videos, and I will say it again, oral fluency and pronunciation should be prioritized over content. You will need to have a good flow in your speech with minimal hesitation. That's why we need a template to buy us some time, give us a structure, and guide us on what to say. As for the content, in order to achieve the maximum of 5 points, you need to describe all elements of the image and their relationships, possible development and conclusion, or implications. If you follow my template, you will hit all these key requirements. You see, for a process or life cycle type of graph, the key elements are obviously the topic of the graph as well as different stages of the process. It is a process and life cycle, so it comes with a logical flow. One step leads to another. There you go, that's your development and relationships. In terms of conclusion and implications, we will have a universal sentence in the end to cover off all scenarios. Now, sometimes you do get a pretty complicated process with a lot of unfamiliar words. Don't panic, this is not a test of your understanding of the process, it is a test of your English and speaking skill. So just follow this template and pick the words that you can pronounce confidently. With this understanding in mind, during the 25 seconds of preparation time, make sure you identify the topic, the starting status of the process, the end status of the process, and one other stage in the middle of the process. Now let's take a look at our first example. I will give you 10 seconds to pick out the 4 things that we just talked about. Pause this video if you need more time. Welcome back, how did it go? In terms of the topic of the process, you will notice in this one there is no title whatsoever, so you will have to make it up. Sometimes it's easier, you can say the life cycle of such and such. However, when I first look at this graph, there's nothing come to mind that easily. So the fallback for this one is how X turns to Y. X represent the start status of the process and Y represent the end status of the process. So for this one, I would just say the given graph gives information about how snow turns to icebergs. Now, in the second sentence of the template, all you need to do is counting how many stages in the life cycle of the process. In the case that it's not straightforward to count exactly how many stages, you can just use multiple. Now we move into the body part of this template. 3 sentences are all you need. Essentially, we will talk about the start of the process, the end of the process, as well as one step in the middle of the process. Now with this structure, you need to fill in 3 full independent sentences. These are the verbs you will be using a lot in life cycle or process type of graph. Of course, sometimes it's hard to think of a full sentence with a subject and a verb, and you can use this structure and just connect it with a noun or a simple phrase. Last but not least, conclusion. We only have two versions of this. We can either say this is a complicated process that involves many steps, or we can say this is a straightforward process that does not involve many steps. Now for this particular graph, let me read out the full response. The following graph gives information about how snow turns to icebergs. From an overall perspective, we can see that there are 3 stages to the process. According to the graph, the first step of the process begins when snow falls and forms ice sheet. Then, warm ocean water causes the bottom of the ice sheet to melt. Following this, the ice shelf breaks and turns to icebergs. In conclusion, this is a complicated process that involves many steps. Before we go into other examples, if you found this video useful so far, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Let's take a look at the second example. Again, I will give you 10 seconds to think about the things that you will say. Pause this video if you need more time. Using this template, my answer is the following graph gives information about the life cycle of a frog. From an overall perspective, we can see that there are 6 stages to the process. According to the graph, the first step of the process begins when adult frogs lay eggs. Then the eggs turn to embryos and subsequently tadpoles. Following this, tadpoles grow 2 front legs first, and then all 4 legs, which turn to frogs. In conclusion, this is a complicated process that involves many steps. Now let's have a look at the third example. Again, I'll give you 10 seconds to pick out the thing that you want to say. Welcome back. So for this one, following our template, my response will be the following graph gives information about request execution. From an overall perspective, we can see that there are 3 stages to the process. According to the graph, the first stage of the process begins when a customer fills out a request form on the hotel website. Then the request is received by email. Following this, a hotel administrator confirms the reservation by phone with the customer. In conclusion, this is a straightforward process that does not involve many steps. I hope you learned something new from this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. If you want to learn other graph types for PTE Describe Image, check out these 2 videos right here.